They score! Paid that man his money.
What a game we got going. Lucic mashes Jones. Crimea River.
He scores! I'm a lead farmer.
Oh, Thomas lost Kovalchuk. Ah, you better pay him in rubles. That was an unbelievable save off the Russian.
And this series is going back to where Jimmy Hoffa is.
It's time for the Gillette Wild Report with Coach Tom Winkler.
Quick strike shoots, he scores! Ball! The meatloaf!
And the Tuesday morning quarterbacks on News Talk 1270 KIML.
He scores! Summertime is coming to Philadelphia.
And welcome back. We're joined a little bit early this week by Coach Winkler from the Gillette Wild, and we have a lot of hockey to talk about. We'll talk about the NHL in a few minutes. I know the NHL season is finally getting started. As a Devils fan, I don't have a whole lot of excitement for this season, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's just kind of sad to see Brodeur kind of being cast aside, but
he hasn't signed anywhere. He's sitting at home doing nothing right now.
That is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I mean, it would be almost like Peyton Manning not having a team.
It's hard to figure out, but when you look at a lot of these teams, they already have their number ones, and he's made it pretty clear that he wants to play 25, 30 games. He's got a limited list of where he wanted to go and backup roles. So I think he's made it hard for a lot of teams to really want to make offers for him, because I don't think anybody's going to be able to give him what he wants.
Well, and I will say that as many problems as, and I didn't want to talk about the NHL. Well, we can start off with the NHL. We'll just start off like that. As many problems as the Devils have, I think they're all right in goal, I think. I mean, Schneider seems to be he's pretty solid. So I think they made the right decision. It's just so hard to see it happen.
Well, he's
40, 41, 42.
He's a legend. I don't care what you say it. And I think if you asked a lot of people, if you were going into Game 7 of the Stanley Cup, who would you want in net? I think a great majority would pick him. I think it'd be between him and Patrick Waugh, probably two of the clutch goalies of all time in that league. Is certainly in the modern era, so to speak. But again, it's tough. I mean, I kind of feel the same way. I was hoping he would latch on with somebody, but at the same time, I think teams are looking at it as he's not going to come cheap. He's a one-year goalie. And is he going to be happy playing 15 to 20 games a year when he's asked to play 30 to 35? So, I mean, it's, I figured some team would bring him in because of the fact that he would be just unbelievable mentoring a younger goalie or somebody coming along. But I don't know. I mean, a lot of it now is dollars and economies of scale. And then you've got, like you mentioned with New Jersey, they've got Scott Clemenson as a backup who's basically been a career backup in the NHL, but he's been very, very good when he's played. They've got this, I think it's Mike Kincaid is the next kid in line who's ready to make the jump. So, a lot of these teams they've got good depth charts when it comes to goaltenders. So you bring someone like that in for a year, and it really can kind of upset a team's development plan, because it throws guys from the NHL back to the American League. It throws American League guys back to the ECHL, and then all of a sudden you've got guys asking for trades because it's not where they want to be or where they should be. So there's a lot of factors that play into what's going on, and it's just it's tough, because you almost kind of wonder if maybe he should have just said, you know what, I've had a great run, and it's time.
And that makes you and you see that with some guys. They just they kind of I don't want to say overstay their welcome, because I mean it's a guy that has done probably as much for the sport as anybody short of Gretzky.
Absolutely.
And it's
and competitively he still feels he can play. Which that's the other side of the coin is, it's no fun to be told you're not wanted anymore. Where, you want to make sure you play until you really don't have any options. And the other thing is too, I mean, you finish up with the preseason in the first couple weeks. I mean, somebody gets hurt, somebody goes down for a long period of time. He's probably going to be the first guy that gets a call. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Okay, so what? I mean, of course, the season starts tomorrow. So you're a Blues fan. I mean, are you looking forward to the season?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's I could sit and watch hockey all day. There's no question or issues about that, and it's really exciting. There was a lot of free agent movements over the summer. I mean, all over the place. The Blues loaded up their lineup, but they still have question marks as far as again. Let's talk about goal with them. They've got two guys. One's played 15 games in the NHL, Jake Allen, who is definitely down the road going to be a workhorse number one, and then they've got Brian Elliott, who's proven that he's very, very solid. I actually thought for a while that the Blues might make a pitch for Brodeur because he would have been the perfect guy to come in and work with Allen and also work with Elliott. So I thought at some point they might talk to him, but they're putting their faith in these two guys, and they're both very capable. I guess it's just I kind of understand how the Chicago Cubs fans feel. I guess being a Blues fan, it's they've teased a long time for being good, and they were picked by the Hockey News last year to win the Stanley Cup, and they couldn't get past L.A. and they play in such an incredibly tough division, but. It's we'll see. I mean, it's so exciting. You never know. It's very, very difficult in any pro sports league to repeat as champions, but I think you got to look at LA, and in my opinion, LA is the perfect hockey team. They have enough depth to do different things during the regular season, so they don't wear their key guys out. And when it comes playoff time, they've got 15 forwards that are capable of playing. They've got an unbelievable D-core, and they've got probably the best goaltender in the league. So it's you look at teams like that and like Chicago and even Anaheim right now, all in the Western Conference, that are all very capable of doing well in the postseason. And I think you've got Boston, which is always a threat in the East, and after that, it's kind of you've got Montreal, the Rangers. There's so many teams that there's really not a whole lot of difference between in the Eastern Conference, that it's such a toss-up as to who's going to come out of that. Pittsburgh's always a threat. Philadelphia, when they're rolling, they're very, very hard to play against. So, it's just exciting for me. It's just exciting to come home at night and have 10 hockey games on TV and again, from a coaching standpoint, I love to watch it because there's always things you can pick up here and there. And when you watch their power plays and their penalty kills and their forechecking schemes and things like that, there's, the game is definitely different. There's things that they do at that level that we can't do at ours, and vice versa to some degree. And, so it's fun to kind of see what they're doing in all the teams and just see if there's things that we can take and translate with our guys. So it's definitely an exciting time. I actually enjoyed watching the preseason. They showed a lot of preseason games on the NHL Network, and a lot of younger guys and guys that I know and guys that were in the American League many years ago that are starting to make a name for themselves. That's kind of cool to see too.
So is LA your preseason pick? Is that what I'm hearing?
You know what? It's hard to beat. It's hard to pick against them. As much as it pains me, it's like picking Chicago. I mean, I it's so difficult to say. But at the end of the day, when you look at those teams, they're just, and I think LA and Anaheim, the thing that they have over Chicago is goaltending. I'm not sold that Crawford is a guy that, if a game becomes a 2-1, very, very tight game, if he's the guy that can make the tight saves like a Quick can or some of the guys that they have in Anaheim can. So, Anderson in Anaheim. So, it's I don't know. I mean, I guess I'd have to pick LA as a preseason favorite, and it pains me, but like I said, I almost feel like the Rangers fans did back in '94, where I need to get one of those T-shirts that said, "Please win one before I die." I just feel that way in St. Louis, that they just, You know, they have good teams. They have good competitive teams every year, but they always seem to be missing the one element. I mean, they had a great goaltending tandem in Allen or in Elliott and Halleck, and they broke that up. And you know, then LA goes out and get Marion Gabrick, who the Blues could have gotten, and he scores 26 points in 24 games to help LA win the Cup, where the Blues' leading scorer for the two out of 3 years was a defenseman. That's their sixth defenseman. So, you know, it's just frustrating because they really do have a lot of talent and they're well coached and all that, but they just always seem to be missing one or two pieces.
Well, and you speak of frustrating, but Chris here is a Kansas City Royals fan, and he yesterday was his. I'll throw you under the bus. It was his 28th birthday, so they've never made the playoffs in his lifetime until this year.
But you know what's interesting about that, and I will jump in here. The only World Series title that they won was a farce, because that umpire blew that call against the Cardinals, where the guy was clearly out.
Here we go.
Don Deckinger.
Here we go.
Yeah. So your title, the only title that they even have, is marred because of probably the worst call in the history of baseball.
Well, it's still in Kansas City, that championship. So
but I'll tell you what,
I
I am rooting for the Royals and how they're really been exciting to watch.
There might be a St. Louis Kansas City rematch. You never know.
Well, that would be. We'll worry about that when we got to get past the Dodgers first.
You know, I would rather see. Well, I mean, I still would like the Orioles to make it. I'm not an Orioles fan. I'm a Phillies fan, but I mean.
You got to pick some new teams.
Well, the Phillies and the Ravens have both won championships in the past 10 years, so I can't complain too much. But the Orioles and the Royals both, I mean, I think are well deserving and long suffering
and
long suffering
that
fan
Kansas
bases.
City team. They're just fun to watch. They're so excited. They're playing great defense. They're getting clutch. I mean, kudos to them. They obviously, I'd like to see them come out of the American League. That would be, I guess, the best part about it. And I'll probably make some people mad with this statement, but I'm just so glad it's not the Red Sox and Yankees.
Oh yeah, same here.
I don't know how many.
Amen.
So glad. I mean, how can you be born and raised in Wyoming and be a Yankees fan or a Red Sox fan? I respect the people here that like Colorado because it makes sense, but I don't know. And obviously Boston, if you think about it, every champion, no, not every, but a majority of the championships they've won have come against St. Louis teams. They beat the Blues in the 70s for the Stanley Cup. They beat the Cardinals the last couple times. They beat the Rams in the Super Bowl. So, I got a little bit of an inferiority complex going on with those guys right now, but.
And I mean, it's just the fans are just miserable. It's Boston. I mean, I understand the weather's bad and the traffic's awful and it's just impossible to navigate the city, but their fans are miserable. I mean,
you know what,
Patriots fan. Bruins fans, maybe not so much.
But I will say, you know what? On the other side of the coin, it was really classy what the Red Sox fans did with Jeter in his last game there. And then also, I don't know if you saw Chris
did not like that.
I hated that. What happened to rivalry in baseball?
But you know what? At some point in time, you got to realize greatness. And I think Jeter was a class guy, and he was a great player. And you know what? I don't know if you saw the thing that the Patriots did on Sunday with
the cheerleaders,
the Bengals with their player Still, Devin Still, his 4-year-old daughter's battling with cancer, and the Patriots, the cheerleaders wore his jersey and they did a tribute, and then Mr. Kraft from the Patriots is donating $25,000 to the cancer hospital that she's being treated in. So
yeah, well,
you got it.
They can't boo her.
That's just class. You got to acknowledge class when it's there.
And that's classy. Cheering Derek Jeter anywhere, not classy. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Well, see now, and I will say, and Kraft is one of the more respected guys in the NFL as far as the owners. It's Belichick that's with the whole Spygate thing. I still won't. Although I will say they haven't won since they got caught cheating. So the Patriots,
there's a couple ways to look at that too. You're if you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough to win. And that's a horrible thing.
Coach.
Horrible thing to say. But,
don't say that on air.
But the thing of it is, those guys all have video. They all. Video is such a part of the game with them now. And really, it's like everything else. There's no secrets because all you got to do is turn on the TV and you watch what everybody's doing. Just like us, you go to fast hockey and you watch Great Falls or Bozeman or Billings. You know what they're doing. There's no surprises anymore. I mean, I certainly wouldn't sneak into anybody's practice and videotape their practice.
No, you just have somebody else do it.
Well, okay, so since you mentioned Great Falls, why don't we talk a little bit about this past weekend? And you didn't quite get the results you were getting the first few weeks of the season, but they were still both fairly close games. Why don't we start off with Friday night?
Well, there's nothing close. You either win or lose.
Well,
and
horseshoes and hand grenades.
I was in a good mood until you brought this up, but it is frustrating. There's no doubt that we went up there looking for better results, and I think Friday's game was kind of the tale of two games where I thought the first 25 minutes they were actually the better team. They came out with a jump. We were on our heels. I believe shots in the period were 16-7 in favor of them. And I'll go on record right now. I very seldom agree with shot counts anywhere. And I know there's people that are probably listening that are laughing when I say that, but I will agree that they definitely did outshoot us by that margin in the first period. They were just played simple. They got pucks to the net. They got to rebounds. They played fairly smart, and it took us a little while to get calibrated to the speed and get going. And then I thought about halfway through the second period, we started to pick it up, and I thought in the third period we outplayed them. And what's really frustrating about both those games is, it was 1-1 going into the third period. We outplayed them in both third periods. However, they got the winning goal in each game in the third period. So it's just kind of one of those games where, both of them were games that could have went either way. But we just made some critical mistakes a couple different times that cost us. And obviously we need to learn from it. And the one thing I've said about this group is they're high character. They care. Obviously they were as a team, they were visibly upset after both games, knowing that they should have had a better result. So that's half the battle right there. And we're going to attack some of the issues this week at practice that plagued us, and we move on from there.
Well, and we talked about this the last couple weeks, and getting pucks on net, and getting quality shots, and we've talked where you want to be. You said you wanted to be in the 40 to 45 shot range for the games, and this one, of course, you were under 30. So I mean, it does make it a little bit tougher to win. I assume you'll be addressing that in practice this week, though, right?
Yeah, and the other element that threw in there, we don't keep a shots attempt stat, and I thought we attempted many more shots, but we either missed the net, had pucks blocked, shots blocked. They did a nice job of blocking shots on their penalty kill. And things like that are obviously areas of concern that we need to address. But, we did give up, again, I think we gave up close to 40 shots in the first game, 35, 36, and probably somewhere near that in the second game. So we need to cut that down. We need to drop 12 to 14 shots off of each game. And then obviously we need to do a better job of getting pucks to the net, pucks through. But also the one avenue that, Coach McLeod and myself were a little upset about after the weekend was we did really talk about a lot of traffic in front of the net. And that was the one thing that we didn't do very well either night, was have bodies in front to where it was difficult for their goaltenders to see the puck. So, moving forward into this weekend, those are focuses that we're going to be attacking pretty heavy.
And you have Bozeman this weekend. What kind of challenges do they pose?
You know what? They have their entire first line is back from last year, and they had one kid who Bozeman finished a little lower in the standings than we did, but they had a kid that put up 80 some odd points in 48 games last year. So, it's a team that they like to play physical. They like to challenge the bounds of what's good and what crosses the lines of that, I guess, is the best way to put it. So we need to be ready for a physical challenge. They do compete hard. They play from start to finish, and they've they've got some guys that can put points up. So, obviously it's like we tell our guys repeatedly, you never disrespect anybody in this game, because when you start doing that, you're going to lose to them. So we've got to make sure that we have, we worry about executing our game plan, which we didn't do as well as we needed to last weekend. And, we fear no one, but you respect everyone. And that's kind of the attitude that we've got to have going into this weekend. And like everybody, they're much improved over last year. I mean, from what I've seen with the teams that we've played, everybody's team is better than last year. We're better, and so have every opponent that we played. So, there's challenges every weekend, and we have to be ready to go when we step on the ice.
And again, it's another weekend out of town. I mean, I'd imagine it's a little bit tougher to do these back-to-back away weekends. You don't really get as much time here at home, would you?
Well, it's again, it's all part of the process for the players too. They have to learn how to deal with the travel and with the schedule and taking care of all the things that need to be done. Our high schoolers are going to miss Friday again, so they've got to do a little bit extra work during the week to stay on top of that. And so it is a little bit of a change in the routine, but the way I look at it is everybody's got to do it. And I'd rather have these type of deals now early in the season where it's a challenge, and, mentally the guys are starting to figure it out. And, it makes you stronger for end of the year and things like that. So, I don't have an issue with it at all. And I think our guys are pretty well adjusted to dealing with this and handling the travel. So it's, you really don't lose an extra day of practice, because we don't practice on game days that much anyway. So really it's just taking care of our Monday through Thursday and then being ready to go Friday.
Okay, and again, it's Friday and Saturday night at Haynes Pavilion over in Bozeman. Of course, next weekend and the Thursday after that. So the 17th, 18th, and 23rd, that's the one good thing is you get rewarded with 3 straight home games after these away stretches.
Yep, and it's that can be, you got to manage that too. So, obviously I like our schedule. I think our schedule was well done, and when we do come back home, we get another shot at Great Falls. They come back in the following weekend, and that's our Pink in the Ring Breast Cancer Awareness Weekend, and the guys will be wearing the specially designed jerseys, and we're excited about all that as well. So it's a fun time. I mean, it's kind of I usually go by week to week. Sometimes I don't even know who we're playing the following weekend because I'm just focused on who's coming up. But again, we've got another good challenge coming up this weekend, so we need to be ready.
Okay, and sounds good. Again, the Wild will be at Bozeman this weekend. We'll get a chance to talk to you next weekend, see how that went. We'll talk about the breast cancer awareness night. Is it going to be both Friday and Saturday next week?
Both Friday and Saturday
nights.
the following weekend. Yep.
And the jersey nights really are pretty cool. So we'll talk about that next week, and maybe we'll see how the first week of the NHL season went too. See, you're my news source for NHL because I get so into football during this part of the season that I don't have enough time to watch as much hockey as I used to.
It's a pretty exciting time.
Yeah.
You got baseball playoffs, football, hockey starting, and if you're a sports fan, I mean, it's probably the best 6 to 8 weeks of the year, and I'm sure the NBA's kicking off pretty soon here too for the basketball fans.
Next week or the week after, I think.
Yeah, it's coming up.
So I mean, I'm sure a lot of wives hate this time of the year.
Not much gets done
out in the garage.
Yeah.
That's right.
See, and with getting up at 3:00 in the morning, I don't even get to watch Monday Night Football anymore. So I get to watch about the first quarter of it, and that's part of the job.
Yep.
But okay, we'll see you next week, Coach Winkler. And with that, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. News Talk 1270 KIML.
Please remain seated until the show comes to a complete stop. Thank you. Carry on.
Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML. You're listening to Tuesday Morning Quarterbacks with Don Carpenter and Chris Brennel.
News Talk 1270 KIML, Don Carpenter Show. Welcome back to the program, and we have a full house in studio. We have some members of the Gillette College Cross Country team, and also Coach Chris Kozlowski. Welcome back. It's been a while since we talked to you. How's the season been going?
Yeah, the season's been going great so far. Right now, our girls are ranked 4th in the country, and our guys are ranked 11th. So it's been a pretty solid year for them.
Oh, see, and that's the I mean, and you guys were ranked last year as well. I mean, it's just amazing that Gillette College, in little Gillette, Wyoming, can have all these nationally ranked teams, and you guys represent pretty well.
Yeah, actually, since we started the program, we've been ranked in the top 25. So it's been it's been an adventure, and the kids have done really well.
Well, and we'll talk a little bit about your season. I just kind of want to introduce everybody here so we can, we don't have enough mics for everybody. So we have Amanda Hutchinson, and we also have Kyle Dietschy and Brian Jacobson. I can't see it because the monitor is in the way, but we have now all of these guys. Are they all freshmen?
Well, Brian's our assistant coach.
Oh, okay.
And Amanda and Kyle they're both sophomores, and they're our team captains.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I guess you are a little bit. Well, although I went back to college at 35, so you're a lot younger than me still. It's I mean, it's a very young team this year. I mean, we talked a little bit off the air. You only had 5 players returning, which I thought was a lot, but out of 15, I guess that's not a lot for a 2-year school.
Yeah, we have 5 sophomores and 15 freshmen this year, so it's definitely a young team. We had a great recruiting class, probably our biggest and deepest class ever. So yeah, they're young, but we definitely have some talent.
Well, now, I mean, I guess we can ask all the runners here. I mean, what made you decide to come to Gillette College? I mean, was it just a great recruiting pitch? I mean, or are you from around here, or?
Yeah, I'm from Sheridan, but I was looking for more of a foundation, and Coach Koz does a really good job of building your endurance and foundation for running to move you up better to better compete if you want to go on. So
okay.
I really like that.
And Kyle, so how are you from around here?
Yes, I'm also around Sheridan like she is.
Oh, okay. So we have 2 Wyomingites, but I mean, you guys do get guys do get runners from all over the country, don't you?
Yeah. Right now we have 4 from Montana, we have 2 from South Dakota, but for the most part we try to stay in state as much as possible. We've had kids from Florida, we've had a couple from Kenya. We get them from all over.
Well, I mean, that's pretty cool that we have that here in Gillette. Now, how's the season been going so far? Now, you mentioned both teams are ranked, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, how have the runners progressed over the year?
Really well. Our last meet was at Metro State in Denver, and our guys they placed 5th there, behind 4 RMAC schools. And I think the RMAC's probably the second best conference in the country behind the Pac-12. So, losing to those guys, I can live with that.
Now, I know absolutely nothing about running, but I do know that the Pac-12 in the Pacific Northwest is the hotbed for running. I mean, I know, with Oregon, of course, and I mean, so the rest of the conference is just as strong.
Well, with the Pac-12, Oregon, Colorado, and Stanford, they're all 3 schools are ranked in the top 5 in the country. So yeah, it's a really solid conference.
Yeah, well, see, and and I mean, I just know Oregon. I know that's pretty much where the modern sport kind of took off. So for those that aren't familiar, just give us kind of an overview of what your average cross country meet consists of.
Well, our guys race 5 miles or 8K. It's pretty much the same. It's like 0.01 miles difference between 8K and 5 miles. And then our girls run a 5K, 3.1 miles. 2 separate races. They line up, the gun goes off, and then they sprint.
Well,
and go for it.
And that's what I mean. You hear a lot of a lot of average people just running a 5K, and that's a big accomplishment. But these guys are basically sprinting an entire 8 mile or 3.1 mile race. I mean, this is a very very demanding sport. I mean, and of course the preparations for that involve running a lot more.
Yeah, racing wise, our girls are running about 6-minute miles, and then our guys are running right around 5s.
For the entire race.
Yeah, for the entire race.
That is just amazing. And I know we did this last time you were in, but I'm always just amazed by being able to run a 5 or a 6-minute mile for the entire race, and that is amazing. And of course, to get to that point, you put in a lot of miles during the week.
Yeah. I think Kyle right now is probably around 80, 85. Yeah.
I don't even drive that much. I mean, I used to have to drive a lot, but I mean, I probably don't drive 85 miles in a week now, which is, that's just amazing. So that would pretty much be like me running to work and back every day, which I could never do. So, I mean, kudos to you guys. I mean, it really is, it's an amazing feat, what high level runners can do.
Yeah. Even yesterday, Kyle's long run was 18.5 miles.
Whew. So I mean, now have any of you guys ever run full marathons?
Only. Oh, you have now? Oh, okay. Kyle has.
Okay.
A long time ago. I did it like 5 years ago. I mean.
So and I'm not going to ask how old you were, but you must have been pretty young when you did it.
Yeah, I was a little too young.
But hey, you did it. I mean, that's something most of us will never do. But that's just it is an amazing thing. And of course, your season's not over yet. You have a couple more meets left. You have an away meet next weekend,
right?
At Black Hills. Why don't we talk about that one first?
Yeah, October 18th, we'll be at Black Hills State. The guys are running 8K, girls are running 5K. We're just using it as a tune-up. Pretty much in order to get Black Hills to come to our home meet. We're completely training through that one. And then the week after that's the one that is going to actually matter for us.
Right.
And that's our home meet. So
okay, well, and that'll be the final meet of the season. That's the home meet. Now, where do you guys run at?
Camplex Park.
Okay.
We use the same start line. Actually, we redesigned our course, so it's completely different from the high school. But yeah, that'll be our first region championship now. So looking forward to that one.
Okay, and of course, it's open to the public if anybody wants to come out and cheer you guys on. Now, of course, you're over at Camplex Park. I mean, what time do you get started next weekend?
10 o'clock. It'll be 10 o'clock for the men's race, and then 10:45 for the women's.
Okay, so Saturday morning, October 25th, about 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And now, for someone coming out to watch a cross country meet for the first time, I mean, what should the layman look for? I mean, I imagine a lot of people that are interested in the sport are runners themselves, but for someone like me that would know nothing about it, I mean, what would you look for at the meet?
Well, you're going to see a lot of black jerseys up front, with our kids, taking the lead. And Hutch, you want to talk about racing?
Yeah. Our girls pack together pretty tight towards the front, and
now, so is there a strategy to that? I mean, when you, I imagine if you're packed together like that, you can kind of block other runners out, and you can, if they want to go around you, I imagine it would probably be more trouble than.
Yeah, they're strategizing. Like, our thing that Kyle has told us is that we need to negative split, so we try to go out more conservative and then push the last two to like threshold pace. It's like all threshold pace, but yeah, so like our top 4 girls really pack together pretty good.
Okay, so and again, and I think most people wouldn't. I mean, they think you just go out and you just run, but I mean, there is a strategy to it. I mean, you have to make sure that you don't you blow yourself out in the first part of the race too, right?
Yeah, don't race stupid.
Yeah,
yeah. Our strategy is always to negative split. We go out conservative. We work our way through the field, and then by the end we're in a good place to score well, and the results come hopefully.
Well, it seems like they have been. The results have been coming in pretty good the last few years, and looks like this is another great year for you. So again, the home meet is October 25th over at Camplex Park. Starts about 10 o'clock, and anybody that is interested in cross country, you should definitely go and check it out. It's I mean, I actually have a few friends that have done cross country, and a friend that's a high school coach, and I mean, he's done this his entire life. I mean, he's my age. He's always been a runner, and it's a great sport. I mean, I certainly suggest anybody that gets a chance go check out your home bout.
Yeah, thanks.
It's my pleasure. So again, Coach Kozlowski and the team, I want to thank you all for coming in, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see you again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we're completely out of time. I'll see you guys 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Stay tuned for Rush.
Basin Radio News, Fox News, Cowboy State News.
More news than you can shake a stick at.
Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.
Supreme Cowards. I'm Todd Starnes with this Fox News.